Hey guys, Baker here. I wanted to showcase my build for the upcoming Gauntlet Race, which is an all-damage mod league organized by some of the most influential streamers in the community. As you might have seen on my stream at twitch.tv/Baker, I'm going to play a Chieftain with Bladefall and Blade Blast. I'm gonna talk about the build and also showcase some footage of my leveling tree and what our endgame goal and POB will be. So I personally took the build because it is very tanky. The tankiness can be improved with gear investment. It has really good boss killing abilities, and it's a good mix between ranged and close combat. The cons of the build are, it's not the fastest build for mapping and even early leveling. The early leveling might be struggling damage-wise, and we cannot get permanent Fortify or long Fortify duration without finding the Vigil. Okay, so after you made a witch and muled explosive trap plus all the gear you dropped off Hillock, you're gonna make a marauder, get into town, and always, no matter how many witches or marauders you make, check for wands here for added spell damage or +1 to gems. We got lucky and got one off of Hillock. What's also good is doing the recipe for the wand with the added flat lightning damage to spells or added flat fire damage. And in this case, since we got the +1 physical wand, I'm gonna do explosive trap, which is always my #1 damage dealer, and ethereal knives in this case with Arcane Surge. After breaking the axe in mudflats, you get Holy Flame Totem, which you add to your setup, and use those two, explosive trap and for Holy Flame Totem, up to level around 33 or 35 when you can transition into Bladefall and Blade Blast. Let's look at the passive tree here. We are level 81, we have 6,200 life, after some quarry farming of course and early mapping. Some big nodes to note in the tree that you want to rush kind of are Call to Arms to use your war cries instantly, so you can put Enduring Cry on your left click and just have it cast in the background all the time. I also linked it to Second Wind just to reduce the cooldown a bit, since I need Second Wind anyways for my Flame Dash. And else, I really like Divine Judgment, especially early on. You want to get Divine Fury probably later on. Discipline and Training is big, and Constitution of course. You need Amplify to get even more area of effect, because you basically want the biggest area of effect on your Blade Blast, and if you can, a small area of effect on your Blade Fall. So basically you would use concentrated effect ideally, so that the blades overlap as much as possible. Also, we're going for Glancing Blows to double our attack and spell block. Take the spell block nodes here, take the block nodes here, but I first chose to take Mystic Bulwark because it's a huge node for Marauder, because we're struggling with mana regen. I'm running Clarity, but getting that 1% extra mana regen per chance to block is huge, and it's gonna save you a lot of trouble later on. Elemental Overload, because we're not crit based, so every crit just triggers EO and gives us 8 seconds of a damage buff. And of course Avatar of Fire to convert all our damage into fire. Okay, so I'm gonna link the POB in the description below, and also like the jewels are pretty straightforward. You can craft them with regular life reforgers in Harvest. So gear wise, you will craft most of your gear before you get into maps or before you get into higher maps with quarry farming. So let's look at our gear. I have a Samber Scepter for the Elipan, and it has +1 physical spell gems because all our spell gems are physical, like Blade Blast and Blade Fall. On top, it has a little bit of cast speed and a little bit of crit chance. It's not really great, but I'm on my way to craft a better one right now. The helmet, on the other hand, is really good already. We just need a defense slam to get the armor up a bit more. Else it's already a pretty solid helmet. My amulet is also okay for now. We'll try to replace it slowly. The shield is complete trash at the moment, but I like that it has chance to block, so we can cap our attack block at least already. We'll also try to get a better or higher armor base and get some defense rolls on top of it. Rings are also pretty straightforward. Cast speed on this one and chaos res, which is huge, and of course you try to get as much life and dex as possible. In general, everything is just life, armor, and resistances in this league. And my chest, of course. We got pretty lucky and chanced the Taste of Hate. That's why I'm using it. Basically, I would go for a regular granite flask. Okay, that's about the gear. Okay, so for the skill setup, I'm gonna show you the mid to end game skill setup and tell you what to change also about it. So right now I have cast when damage taken with Immortal Call and increased duration, which is just great because it triggers if we take 725 damage, and Immortal Call makes us take nearly no physical damage and way less elemental damage. Also, as a Chieftain, we regain endurance charges quite quick, so it's not a big deal to lose them. Plus, a big upside again is, as the Chieftain Ascendancy, once we lose endurance charges, we gain a 15% more damage buff. Then I use Enduring Cry with Second Wind and Flame Dash with Arcane Surge and Second Wind. So basically just to have that extra use on my Flame Dash, trigger Arcane Surge with it, and have the reduced duration or the cooldown on Enduring Cry. Then I have a regular shield charge, 45 faster attack setup just to get along in maps, like that's my standard movement skill. On top we're using Clarity, Molten Shell, Flesh and Stone, and Herald of Purity. And this one is a bit scuffed right now, but we have Spell Cascade on our Bladefall with Unleash and faster casting. You want to swap out faster casting for combustion as soon as possible, as soon as it doesn't feel clunky anymore and your cast speed is pretty nice. Right now the damage is fine, so I'm still using it this way. Also on our chest I'm using Blade Blast with combustion, controlled destruction, elemental focus, and intensify. Basically the goal will be to use intensify with elemental focus, controlled destruction, as we do, and then fire penetration instead of combustion, because we have combustion on our Bladefall, and inspiration as our 6th link. So let's come to a conclusion here. I played this build until level 84, and I have to say it was really tanky. It impressed me with the damage we put out, and in general it was a really good build for this kind of mods and event. The boss kills were kinda nice, Baron was no problem, Drox took a while, Veritania you have to take care a bit and maybe bring a Sapphire or, you know, just adapt to the bosses. In general we have good res now, we respec a little bit, I'll show it in the final POB that's planned for level 90. And we are sitting at 12% chaos res in early yellow maps. We have kind of 60% block, which I need to improve with a shield and try to cap block, of course, since we're going glancing blows. And just in general, improve on the defenses we already have. Like, armor is pretty nice, and once we get our endurance charges up, we're sitting at like 61 fizz reduction, which is pretty good combined with Immortal Call. So let's go into the POB section, guys. We changed a little bit from the early pathing, because I like to have the diamond skin while leveling, and the res and armor, of course, you get from it. But later on you won't need it, so I respec those and put them into Soul of Steel, which ends up in a bit better spot armor-wise, and also we get the +1 max res on top of it. Then I went through here instead of outside, just to get Unwavering Stance. And everything else kind of stayed the same from my leveling tree. So from now on, you can just start picking life nodes for every level, or you even go to Blast Radius if it helps you hit another breakpoint, which it does. So that's up to you. I kind of wanted to end it at level 90 because I think at level 90 you'll have the feeling for the build and you'll make the right decisions depending on your gear. Just in general, don't forget, you want to have a big as much radius on your Blade Blast so they can overlap, but you also want to have the radius on your Blade Fall as small as possible. So in the end, you don't want to quality your Blade Fall, but you do want to quality your Blade Blast. Okay, this concludes our video. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope there's not too many questions open, but if there are, throw them in the comment section below and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. Also make sure to like the video so I know you like it and I can throw out more and better guides in the future. In general, I wish you all the best of luck in the Gauntlet Race. I hope you succeed and have a lot of fun. It will be a great race, I'm quite sure about that. So thank you and see you soon.